Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Alexa, and in today's video I'll be doing something I haven't done in a couple months, which is a monthly wrap up. So yeah, here is all the books that I read in June. I ended up reading 25 books, which is still which is huge an amount of books, but hey, as you guys know, I have no life and I read a lot. Like, I read every minute I can. As soon as I have any free time, I will be reading because that is just the way that it is. So I'm going to start with some little stats. Also, today I will be trying to make my video not 5 hours long because I realized that I have an issue where I make videos way too long and end up having like an hour and a half of footage. So I won't be talking about videos if I either talked about it in another video, or I'll just like quickly go through them, or if I already posted a full arc review of it on Instagram, then if you want my full thoughts, I'll go there. I'll just do a quick, a couple second just rundown of the video of the book. But yeah, here are the stats. So for the amount of books I read, I already said 25. Now for the different genres, we have 18 romance, 4 fantasies, like romanticities mostly, 2 paranormal romances, and 1 literary fiction book. Physical books we have 5, ebooks we have 12, and audiobooks we have 7. And the total amount of pages of all 25 of those books are 9,908. So yeah, that is a crazy amount of pages and books. I was so shocked at the end of the month when I see the amount of books that I read, because it makes me realize how actually I do read a lot. I think on average I read something it's anywhere between 2 and 5 hours a day of reading, because I read when I wake up, read while eating breakfast, read while eating lunch, read in the evening sometimes, and I read before bed. And then sometimes, even because this currently is my job, I read during the day for work. I try to keep if I'm not reading for a video, or if it's not an arc, I do try to do the reading in the evening and really try to keep it just to work during the day. But sometimes when I have a slow day, I do read in the afternoon because it is what it is. But yeah, let's get into all these books. I'm gonna go in order. So the first book I read was Found With You by Lindsay Harper. This one was a 4.5 stars. It was a fun, cute small town romance that takes place in the Canadian Rockies, and it was just a really fun book. I had a fun time reading it. If you want all my thoughts, I will have them on my Instagram review that I posted. As always, my Instagram is in the description. But yeah, that is my thoughts for that. But yeah, it was a really fun book and I definitely recommend it. It's on Kindle Unlimited, I think. After that, I read The Risk by Elle Kennedy, which is the second book in the Briar You series. This one was a 4.25 stars out of 5. This one was, what's her name? It was Jake and, why is all of a sudden her name? It was Jake and Brenna's book. I really, really loved Jake and Brenna, of course. It is such a fun book, and I mean, anytime I read an Elle Kennedy romance, especially the hockey ones, I know it's gonna be a fun read. It's rarely ever a full 5 stars, but I always have such a fun time reading them, and this book honestly gave me exactly that. I just binged it fully. After that, I finished a book that I had started and read most of in the month of May, but finished in the month of June, and honestly, I literally had an hour or less than an hour left to the audiobook, and it is A Soul to Heal by Opal Rain, which is the second book in the Duskwalker Bride series. If you guys couldn't tell by this month, well, you would mostly be able to tell. I think I started my obsession in either May or no, I think my obsession actually fully started in the month end of March, start of April. I am in I really got into monster romance, shifter romance, Omegaverse romances because they're honestly so fun. And these ones, the audiobooks are top tier for the Duskwalker Bride series. The narrator for all the Duskwalkers, I think his name is Wolfgang something. Perfect. But this book was a 4 out of 5 stars. The female main character kind of, and I know I don't know why, but she kind of annoyed me, even though I still liked her, but there are some parts of her that kind of annoyed me. I still enjoyed the characters in the books, but that's why I wasn't higher than that. I preferred A Soul to Touch? No. Yeah, I think it's A Soul to Touch or something like that. The first one. I preferred that one over this one, but this one was still good. It was a really good book, but I kind of just didn't vibe with our female main character. After that, I read probably one of my favorite books of that month, and my favorite book of that month, and it is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I will be officially reading every single book that she has ever written. I have another of her books on my bookshelf somewhere. It's on my TBR for this month, and I absolutely love this one. 5 stars. I devoured it. I was in New York when I read this. I bought this on the Tuesday that I was in New York, I think. Yeah, that was in New York, not on New York. And I started it that evening, that Tuesday evening, and then Wednesday I ended up going to a cafe in the afternoon and finishing this book. It was so cute. This is one of the cutest books I have ever read in my entire life. It is amazing. I am obsessed with Shep. I'm obsessed with our female main character Eve. This book was adorable. And I will say, even if you don't like the pregnancy trope, this book is so good that you'll forget that like it's pregnancy trope, but like done really, really well. And I know guys, I used to not be a pregnancy trope pregnancy trope type of girl. I hated the trope. Then I read Out on a Limb and Lizzie Blake's Best Mistakes within 1 week. Both were 5-star pregnancy trope books. And I love this. No. And then I fell in love with the trope, and then now I'm obsessed with it, and this book I loved. This book was a perfect representation of it, and I just need my own Shep in my life. I want to marry him, and yeah, that's it. After that, we have The Play by Elle Kennedy. This one I think might have been my least favorite in the series. It is the 3rd one. I still really enjoyed it, and I love Hunter and Demi's relationship, but they weren't my favorite like main characters. I still really, really enjoyed the book, but it didn't hit the same as the other books. I don't know why, but I guess Hunter was maybe the male main character that I felt the least attached to out of all 4 in this series, and Demi I liked, but I wouldn't say she was my all-time favorite. So I still really vibed with the book and I really liked it, but like it wasn't a 5-star. Like it was a solid 4 stars, which is a very good rating, but I just didn't 100% vibe with our characters as much as I did with the other books in this series. But the plot was good, their relationship was good, it just, I guess, wasn't my vibe. Okay, now we have the next 5 books were part of something that I called Arc Hell Week. If you know me in real life, especially if you are my mom watching this, you were there during this week, and it is a problem and a week that, like, something that I will never do again. Basically, I requested a bunch of arcs and then never put in my notes which ones I had requested and the dates that they released. So I ended up having 5 books releasing within 3 days. 5 Instagram reviews to post for 3 days. And I don't always read the book way in advance before the release date, because sometimes if I'm making the post that's something I'm gonna change. I'm gonna start making the post when I read the book, but then posting it later on. But something that I used to do until that week was read the book a couple days before the release day and then make the review and then post the review around the release date. So yeah, if you guys followed me on Instagram, you guys saw all the reviews that I posted that week, and it was crazy. So the 5 books, I will go in order. I will say the ratings and I will just talk a little about some of them, not all of them. But we have Whisked Away by Enola M. Douglas, Checkered Hearts by A.G. Sterling, not AJ. Seeds of Passion by Lola Lockhart. Loving a Vampire is Total Chaos by Aura Hayes. And lastly, Make the Play by Haley Roger. Now, if you guys have followed me either on here or on Instagram for a little while, you guys had heard me talk about either Lola Lockhart or Haley Rogers' past books. You guys know I rated them 5 stars or 4.75 for one of Lola's books. You guys know I love those authors, so both Seeds of Passion and Make the Play ended up being 5 stars. These were so cute. Make the Play, that book means everything to me, and so did Seeds of Passion. I loved it so much. I honestly loved both of those books so much. If you want the full review and thoughts, definitely go on my Instagram, because both of those books they're just so good. And I love how there was a lot going on both of like the main characters in each book, like both the female and male main characters in each book. They both had like stuff going on in their lives, and they were dealing with a lot of emotional stuff in their own personal life, which I feel like I always love when there is like not emotional angst, but tiny bit of angst in my romance books because it adds depth to the characters and it makes them look more realistic, because most people always have something like going on in their personal lives that is really rough, I guess, or like at least everyone's dealing with something in their own personal life. So I feel like when books have that, it makes it a lot more realistic. But yeah, those were both 5 stars. I had one 4.75 stars, which was Loving a Vampire is Total Chaos by Aura Hayes. If you love, like, I will read you a tiny part of my review because I feel like if you guys love my content, then you will, and love my chaos, you will love this book. And if you love my general recommendations, I literally wrote, like, the first line is exactly how I would recommend it to you. If you loved how unhinged Josh was in Lights Out by Nevessa Allen and the murder mystery aspect of Richard Blackbird by Bryn Reaver, I have found the perfect book for you. Okay, this vampire dude is down bad for her. He will do anything for his girl. Like, as soon as he sees her, he's like, that is my soulmate. I know that she is my soulmate. Like, I'm just gonna describe the little, like, I think it's like first, not even 50 pages, okay? So it's not even spoiling. So the book starts with, like, he's a serial killer, but he only kills terrible people to help the police for some reason, or like to just have terrible people out the streets. Like, it'll be like abusers or like people who kill other people or like are traffickers. Well, basically he kills them, and then he waits at the crime scene until the police or investigator or detectives show up. So he waits there, but he's invisible. He can make himself invisible, I guess, because he's a vampire. So all of a sudden, he's like 200 years old, 300 years old, born in 1700s, and also he doesn't have DNA, so you can't really like find him. But it starts out with him doing that, and then he waits at the crime scene, and then all of a sudden the detective shows up and he's like, this is literally my soulmate. Like, he's able to send her, and he's like, that girl, she's mine. So then he goes to figure out who she is. He finds her apartment. He gets rid of her current neighbor, moves into that apartment, and is like, oh, hey, I'm your new neighbor. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, who are you? And then he just randomly gets her. He's so chaotic and unhinged, but I love him for that. Like, he was really funny. You guys need to go read that book. Oh, by the way, Whisked Away by Enola M. Douglas, really good book. It's really good. You guys should all go read it. It's a fantasy Omegaverse reverse harem white shoes book. Amazing. Love it. 4.5 stars, that one. And then Checkered Hearts by A.G. Sterling. That one was more of a miss for me. It was a 3 stars. It was an F1 romance story, and I didn't really vibe with the F1 aspects as much. Like, the story was still good, but there were some parts where I was like, okay, this is kind of slow, or like random time jumps, and I didn't really like either of our main characters. Like, the guy at the start was kind of a douche, and then I felt like we kind of just jumped over that, and he started all of a sudden being a nice guy, but not fully nice. He just didn't get enough of a redemption arc, in my opinion. But like, it was still, I think someone who isn't an F1 fan would have enjoyed it a lot more than I did. I just didn't fully vibe with it, you know? After that, I read Caught Up by Nevessa Allen, 5 stars. You guys know I loved Lights Out by Nevessa Allen, this book right here. And I first listened to it on audio last October, and I was obsessed. I was fully obsessed with the audiobook, and so much that I re-listened to it, and then I started re-listening to it before Caught Up came out. I never ended up finishing it, but the narrator for Lights Out was Jacob Morgan / Zachary Weber, which you guys know is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and the one who, he does the male voices, and the guy who did the male voices in Caught Up was Teddy Hamilton, which you guys know is also one of my favorite audiobook narrators. And you must be wondering, Alexa, how did you get the audiobook? Okay, so I basically, back in I think it was in December, I got a free trial for 3 months of Audible, and then ended up, I always end up canceling it when I get free trials because I'm not gonna pay that. But I ended up getting, and if I was gonna pay for an audiobook subscription, I would get Libro FM just because it supports an indie bookstore. But with one of my free credits that I'd gotten, I ended up pre-ordering the audiobook, so that's how I got it, you know? But I ended up listening to it on the day that it came out, giving it 5 stars. It was so good. It wasn't necessarily like the 5-star god tier that Lights Out was, but it's still Lights Out, if I could give it 5 million stars, Lights Out would get 5 million stars for me. It's so funny. It's one of my favorite books. Caught Up, it gets a regular 5 stars, but I still loved it so much. And I think that the next story, which will be, I think it's Tyler's story? Tyler's story is the next story that we're getting in this series. I think that one will also be a just million stars, because you find out about a bunch of things about him in the book, Caught Up, and you kind of get a glimpse into his romance, what it's gonna be. And I just didn't love Junior's character as much already in the other book. I still loved him in that one, and it was still a really, like, it was still a great book. It was 5 stars. You guys know I don't give out as many 5 stars anymore. I used to give like 5 stars to half the book I read. Like, what would be between a 4.25 and a 5 stars now would be a 5 stars, and what's like between a 3.25 and like a, but yeah, I still really loved it. Like, it's still a 5 stars, and I'm so excited for the next book. It was like, there wasn't a single aspect that I didn't dislike. Like, it was still absolutely perfect to me. Nothing that isn't perfect. There was no flaws to me in this book, but just Josh for me is a god tier book boyfriend. Like, he's up there with like Slade, he's up there with Lucas Bloomfist, he's up there with all my favorite, like with Lauren Hale, Connor Cobalt, Reich Meadows. He's up there with those. So of course, if the male main character isn't up there with those, it won't like live up to as much of the hype as Lights Out, but it was amazing, and I definitely recommend you guys all go read every single book Nifas Allen has ever written. I actually haven't read Kings of Kearney, but I will. Is it Kings of Kearney? Yeah. Is it Irish? Is the male main character Irish? Because you guys know I love a good Irish audiobook narrator. Okay. Then after that was during the middle of Arc Hell Week, but after Arc Hell Week, the first book I read was Pucking Sweet by Emily Rath. And Emily Rath, our queen, I love her so much. She is an amazing person. She's not only an amazing writer, she's an amazing person. That one was a 4.5 stars. I love that series. I haven't read her other series. I know she wrote some historical romances and a fantasy romance. I really want to read the fantasy one, and also I've been dying to get into historical romance, because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I want to grab a random paperback at a thrift store that's like the typical like the Bodice Ripper historical romances, and just read one. So her books might be a great introduction actually into historical romance. Ooh, that could be good. Yeah, actually, not me adding books to my TBR randomly while saying this, but I love this book so much. I think it is my second favorite in the series, first being of course Pucking Sweet. I read it 2 years ago and was obsessed with it, so obsessed with it. Read it in like 2 days, and it's like a 600-page book. My second is definitely Pucking Sweet, and then Pucking Around is the second book of the series. That one's my least favorite, but I'm also so excited for the next one. The next one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's coming out in August or September. I'm gonna read or listen to it immediately. I love her books on audio, so I might listen to it. But this one I did on audio, and it was just absolutely perfect. The narrators that she chooses for her books are always so perfect, and I actually might re-listen to Pucking Sweet, because I love an audiobook narrator with an accent. Okay, God forbid a girl loves an accent. So like in the Lissy Blake audiobook, I love that he had an Australian accent. You guys know I loved the like the Bryn Weaver, what is the trilogy called? Anyways, her like Butcher and Blackbird, all those. One of my favorite audiobooks ever is Scythe and Sparrow by her, and the man has an Irish accent. What other ones has Irish accents? Okay, now I have to go and I don't know why, but my brain is like, now you must go find all the Irish accents you've ever listened to. Okay, Irish. We have Connor Kilgore. I'm giving you guys Irish accent book recs, I guess. We have Connor Kilgore in Problematic Summer Romance. Who else? We have... I might have not listened to that many Irish accents, because I know there's... Okay, I'm trying to find one. Oh, I mean, one of the guys in the Vicious Lost Boys has a British accent, and it's a pretty good British accent. Ooh, I know it's not Irish, but Lucas Bloomfist's Swedish accent in Deep End, amazing. Yeah, Scythe and Sparrow, amazing. I think that's it. Oh my god, I need to focus more on Irish male main characters to listen to their accents, but those are really good Irish recs. But yeah, I might re-listen to it, but like, anyways, all this to say that it was a great audiobook. After that, I read You and Me by Tal Bauer, and I read this because of one single Instagram post, and it was the 2 single dads keeping their relationship secret because because their sons are friends, they are best friends, and like they're scared of what their sons will think. And then it's like their sons secretly hoping that they're really dating and knowing that they're dating, and it's like, by that I was like, I love a single dad romance. So the fact that it's two single dads together, this is absolutely perfect. So I read it, I binged it, I loved it. It was a 4 stars. It was so cute. Honestly, like the interactions they were having was so cute. Their connection was amazing. Actually, it might be a 4.5. Like now that I think about it, it might be. I might bump it up. I'll see. But it was such a good book. The characters I loved. I loved this book. It was so cute. After that, I read, as you guys know, if you watched my mood reading vlog that I posted last week, I read these 4 books. I'll just quickly say, if you want my full rating and reading experience of them, go to that vlog. But 3.5, 3.75, 4.25, and this one I originally rated it a 4.75, but it's now a 4.5. Those books, honestly, binge them so quickly. I really, especially the last one, I love. After, in that same reading vlog, I read The Dare. You guys know, 4.5. It was the final book in the Ryu series. Loved it. Favorite book in that series, and it was just so good. I also listened to, during that vlog, Barbarian Mine by Ruby Dixon. If you can tell by when I said like, oh, I'm reading monster romances, all that, alien romances as well. Actually, Ruby Dixon is one of the reasons why I'm addicted to those books. And I'm not even gonna say it's not even a guilty pleasure, because I'm not guilty about it. I just enjoy those books. They're so fun. The Ice Planet Barbarian audiobooks, they're hilarious. I have never laughed as much as either during Lights Out audiobooks or the Ice Planet Barbarian audiobooks. I don't think I could ever read them instead of listening to them. Like, I think I have to finish the series as an audiobook, because it is just so funny, because the narrators she chooses are so funny, and I think it's mostly the same narrators, at least for the men, but it's just, they're funny, fun books. So, and the narrators make the experience even more funny. So I couldn't do it otherwise. Now, that was all in the reading vlog, like from the Anna Huang books, or those 2. Now, after that, I finished a book that I cried so much while reading. I stayed up until 1 a.m. And you guys know I go to bed usually at like 11, even on weekends, yes. And that was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She hadn't released a book in, I think, 2 years. She released that book 2-3 weeks ago, and I got it on Libby. I did maybe 2-3 hours of the audiobook, not even, but I finished the rest on ebook, because I got ebook and audiobook of that book within the release week on Libby, even though I had not been on the waiting list for long. That's insane. That feels like it's something that never happens. I got also same thing with Great Big Beautiful Life, but not the audiobook, but I got the ebook day, like the week that I released. That was insane as well. There's actually a bunch of books that I got on release week on Libby. I'm really good at like getting them. Actually, I don't know why I say like that's insane. That never happens. It always happens to me. But yeah, this book was so good. I loved it. It is a sapphic love story between 2 astronauts. I think one's an astronomer, one's a pilot that became a mission specialist. It is between, oh my god, I think it is Joan and Vanessa. I don't know why, but for a second I was blanking on their names. I'm 99% sure that their names are Joan and Vanessa. Yeah, it's Joan and Vanessa. Yeah, so our 2 main characters, we have, what is the last name of Joan Goodwin and Vanessa Ford. The ending, if you have read this book, I cannot spoil the ending, but the last 30 pages had me sobbing. Actually, no. As my Goodreads review states, pretty much sobbed through the last 50% of the book, and that is the truth. And actually, I cried a bit before the 50% mark, but we don't talk about that. But this book is honestly my second favorite. I can't choose, actually. I was gonna say my second favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but I can't rank them. I love Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones, Evelyn Hugo. I loved more like really liked Kiri Soto. It was maybe my least favorite one I've read by her. I still enjoyed her story, but it didn't feel the same as her other characters. But the fact that this one, I thought we were gonna see another Mick Riva reference. I saw one review and I thought that it was fully serious, and in the book I was waiting for it, and then I realized that the Challenger did not happen before in 1984, and the book ends in 1984, so we were not gonna see Challenger. But the review said, and in this book we'll learn that Mick Riva was responsible for the Challenger explosion. I know that's not a laughing matter, but it's because in every other book, every bad thing is because of Mick Riva. Mick Riva is at fault for everything. So I just thought that that was a funny review because of Mick Riva, not because of the Challenger thing, because that's sad. But this book, amazing. I truly cannot explain it in words how much this book I love. Even though I know I did say that this one is my favorite, it's because it's completely different. This one is my favorite book that made me completely smile. I had the best time while reading this. And this book, well, you guys are seeing the cover actually right now. This book is the one that emotionally wrecked me. It is the one that I'm just fully broken after reading that book. But this one is my favorite, but the other one is also one of my favorites of this month. After that, I finished Silver Foxed by Kayla Gross. I will say I've loved almost every single Kayla Gross book I have read. I have a great time. This one was my least favorite, and it is because our female main character nicknamed our male main character Mr. Serious, and she wasn't saying it in a like, I know this nickname is cringy thing, but like she was using it as his actual nickname, and it gave me the ick every time I heard it. And it, like, you know when you're reading a book, you're really into it, and then all of a sudden you like read something that completely takes you out of the book, and like you're kind of just brought back to reality, but not in a good way, not like in a holy cow that is the biggest plot twist ever, but in a way that like it cringes you so much that you're no longer into the book and you just have to pause and take a break from reading. It was that type of thing. So it kind of not ruined my reading experience, but kind of lessened the reading experience. I don't know. I feel like if that nickname wasn't there, I would have enjoyed the book more because I would have been more into it. Because every other book that I've read by her, I've been into it, and like the book was still, if you take that out of the book, I still enjoyed it so much. But since it is such a big part of the book, because it's not just she doesn't say it once or twice, like she says it at least 10 to 15 times throughout the entire books, and it's like at intervals. It's not like during one scene, it's repeatedly throughout the book. So it just kept like taking me out of the book and taking me out of the reading experience. After that, I read a book that I thought was gonna be like a silly, goofy book and like a completely out of pocket read because it was a Kraken shifter romance, and it is The Saltwater Curse. But it actually ended up not being a silly, goofy mood book, and it actually ended up being an incredible book, and I gave it 4.25 stars. I read this while on vacation with my cousin, and actually I remember her telling her at the start, oh yeah, I'm reading this book. Yeah, I don't know, I've never read a book like this. It's kind of gonna be like a fun time, I guess. And then I end up telling her, like keeping her updated, like actually I'm really loving this book. It's so fun, and like I'm really, really, really enjoying this book. I also loved that there was a shark dog, I guess, that was a side character, but we still got his point of view throughout the book, so you got to like read his book and honestly read his thoughts, which were mostly him getting distracted by coconuts, which fair enough, like an actual coconuts, like the fruit, yeah, it's the cocoa fruit, I guess, not the coconut. Yes, to figure out if it was a fruit or not, I sang, you know the like video that was viral on YouTube a couple of years ago that was like, the coconut nut is a big, big nut, that one. But yeah, it is the cocoa fruit from the cocoa tree, from the coconut family. La 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 la. But this book was such a fun time, but also all our characters had like both of our main characters had trauma and a lot of depth, and our female main character, her last relationship was extremely abusive, and you see her slowly learning to trust like men again, and it was just, or like a man again. It was just really good. I had a really fun time reading it, and honestly I definitely reread it. By the way, I forgot to say the author of that book, but the author, I'm just gonna go on Goodreads, I cannot remember for the life of me right now, by Avina St. Graves. I definitely will read all of her other books. That she has a vampire romance, which I haven't fully gotten into vampires yet, but I'll go down that like deep dive at some point. But yeah, that book was really fun. After that, I read a book that I've been wanting to read for over a year. Last year, I remember I had borrowed it on Libby, but I ended up not reading it at that point just because it was not the right time. But I read it this time and it was the right time, and that book is Morbidly Yours by Ava Hunt. Is it Ava Hunter? Why am I? No. Ivy Fairbanks. Is Ivy Fairbanks the one that... Okay, no, it's her only book. Because I know that there's a book that was written by one of the Christina Lauren authors that like it's Ivy something, her pen name. But no, it is not her. But Morbidly Yours. Okay, so there's no audiobook sadly of that book. That's the one I was talking about recently. I was thinking about earlier. It's like, oh, I feel like there's a more recent one. Irish audiobook, but no, that one didn't have an audiobook, which I was sadly really disappointed of because I really wanted to listen to the male main character's voice. But okay, so it's this book. Okay, how can I describe it? It's our male main character, Callum, is a shy Irish kind of gentle giant with a stutter, and I love him. I want to date him, but like I know that he's with his girl, so that's fine. Okay, not in a I'm not in a self-insert way, but just I'm in love with that man. He is amazing, and I want to find a man like him. I guess, why do I say that about every male main character I like in romance books? I don't know why, but hey, it's fine. But he's just so amazing and I love him, and he's one of my favorite book male main characters. Even though the book wasn't a full 5 stars, I will think about him forever. He will be in my heart forever. Also, Lark, love her. She's an icon. She's an artist. We love to see her, and we love to see a girl stand up for herself. And this book was just so good. Yeah, I don't have that many thoughts about the book, I guess, but it was still so good. It was so funny and also sad. There's a lot of sad aspects in this book, actually. Okay, now on to the last 2 books of this. Hey, I'm only 40 minutes in. The last time I filmed a book, like a wrap up, it never ended up being, no, second to last time I filmed the wrap up, not last time, because last time it ended up being posted, but it was, the one I'm thinking about is the month of January, when I read 26 books. I ended up not posting it because I got sick and I couldn't edit it, and then it wasn't relevant anymore. I couldn't post it like almost at the end of February, but it ended up being an hour long of footage after, yeah. So I'm proud of myself for keeping it somewhat short. But the second to last book I read in the month of June was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is crazy because that means I can finally, and I actually started it this morning, finally read the book that is on my July TBR that I put, which is the second book in the series that I own. This is the only one that I own. Actually, over there I have a bunch of library copies. After finishing it on Monday morning, from Blood and Ash, which, by the way, 4 stars, I think. But it's because the first book in a fantasy series for me will never be, or rarely be, a 5 stars. I think one of the only ones that was a 5 stars, or the only one that was no, there's maybe a few that were 5 stars, but it's extremely rare. Like, I think the only ones were maybe Fourth Wing and Phantasma. But Phantasma is more paranormal, I would say, than it's still very much fantasy, but there's not much world building. But like heavy world building, well, kind of heavy world building, it's like Fourth Wing. Like, not even, but even though Fourth Wing is not my, Fourth Wing is a very good series, it's not even my favorite series. Like, my favorite series of all time, fantasy series, is Guild, and the first one I rated the first, the Plated Prisoner series, the first book in that series was a 3.75 stars. So this could be a new favorite series of mine. But basically, after I finished that, I went and borrowed all the books in both the From Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire series at the library because they were all available, other than like King of Flesh and Fire, like Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, because that one I already own. But basically, that one, loved it. Hawk Flynn. I was listening to the graphic audio version, which is like every character, not every, but most characters have their own narrators. So like you have like 15 million narrators for the book, and you also have sound effects that they add into the background. So if it's a battle, you'll hear like the swords clanging and like people like, rah, like battle sounds. And if there's a storm, you'll hear like the rain and the thunder and all that. So the narrator for Hawk Flynn had me giggling and kicking my feet. I love that man. And actually, as I'm reading, I'm only like 50 pages into this book, but as I'm reading this, I'm still reading it in his voice because that's just what I'm gonna do. But it was just honestly really good. It was a really good first fantasy book. I am so excited to continue this series so much that I think I might finish this series this month. Like, I plan to read all the books this month. I mean, I'm filming a 24-hour readathon this weekend. It's not gonna be posted for a while though, just because it's planned for in the future, but it's one of my only free weekends this summer this weekend, and I think it's gonna rain a lot. I'm pretty sure it's raining a lot, so I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to do a 24-hour readathon. Yeah, no, this weekend it's pretty rainy here, so I just thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to read this. to do the readathon. But yeah, so yeah, I ended up really liking the series. I really like the world building, the world. I can't believe it took me 5 years to read this book, but hey, I'm finally there. After 5 years of being on Book Talk and that being an OG Book Talk book, I finally am reading the series, and I'm so happy I did. And honestly, I think I'm reading it at the perfect moment because I wasn't huge on romantasy when I first started Book Talk. I was more fantasy without the romance, or well, no, I was more YA fantasy. I was less adult fantasy. I really read mostly YA until maybe 2-3 years ago. Well, 3.5 years ago I started being half YA, half adult, and then about a year or two ago I started reading really mostly only adult books because I just turned around when I turned 18, actually, so 2 years ago, because I was just less into YA at that point, honestly. But yeah, after that, the last book that I read this month was Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. This one was such a fun book. I rated it a 4 stars. It was the second Lana Ferguson book I read. The first one was The Nanny, and I ended up not reading and not finishing. I started the audiobook for The Faking Game. Is it no, not The Faking Game. The Fake Mate? Yeah, The Fake Mate. But I ended up, this is the third book I've read by Lana Ferguson. The first one was Under Lock and Key. That one was my favorite, honestly. It was such a fun read. That one was a 4.5 stars. That one is actually my favorite of hers. My second favorite is, honestly, this one, The Game Changer, was maybe my least favorite, but doesn't mean I still didn't enjoy it. I loved it still. But my second favorite is The Nanny, mostly because it is a published Raylo fanfiction. And you guys know I love my Raylo fanfic girlies, or my published Raylo fanfic books. But I ended up I'm not gonna read The Fake Mate, because one of the main characters has the name of one of my family members, close family members. So I was like, this is gonna be awkward. Like, I started listening to it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. But then we got, like, when it was getting closer to like a spice scene, I was like, no, can't. I'm sorry guys, I can't do this. But yeah, The Game Changer was honestly so fun. And this continued the proof that I love a baking romance. I don't even bake that much, but for some reason, as soon as there's a baking or a bakery somewhere in the book, I'm obsessed. I love it. Especially if it's a baking girly. Actually, no. Do I prefer when it's a baking guy? Yeah, I think I don't know. I love someone who bakes. As long as one of our main character bakes, you guys know that it's added to my TBR. I haven't read that many of them, but I've added most of them to my TBR. But yeah, those were the 25 books that I read in June. Actually, that was a crazy wrap up. I think I was able to keep it short though. I know, guys. You guys don't need to applaud me. You guys don't need to applaud me. It's fine. I'm just that amazing. But yeah, those were the 26 books that I read in 25 books that I read in June. It was still a crazy reading month, and I will keep having crazy reading months forever because that's just what I want to do. I love reading. I read every second I can, and I read a lot, if you guys couldn't tell. And I'm reading a lot of good books this year. I guess that was my outro, other than the official. Sorry guys, I'm having a brain fog day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already and you want to see more of my content, then go on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all these platforms. They're all in the description. If you want to read my reviews, I'm also on Goodreads. You can add me as a friend on Goodreads, and if you want to see more of my reviews, I'm also posting reviews on there. I have a book club on Fable that I'm trying to revive because it's been dead for a couple months. Sorry, I must apologize. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you guys. And I love you. And as always, I will see you guys next week. Bye!